Hey, welcome to News You Can Use. I'm your host, VG, and listen, it is the first day of Black History Month, and we wanted to shine a light on the Black experience in the workplace and employers who have created safe spaces for Black employees. But before we get into all of that, I do need you to do a few things like subscribing to this channel, tapping that notification bell, and make sure to follow us on all of our social media. Those details are in the description below. So, question for you. What does Black History Month mean to you? It's actually one of the questions we're asking today. And to kick off the month, we brought in Peter Robinson and Naki Osutei to talk about Black accomplishment, the evolution of Black History Month, safe spaces in the workplace, and so much more. Let's get into it. Naki Osutei, Peter Robinson, thank you so much for joining us on News You Can Use.
Thank you for having us.
We are so excited. Obviously, today is a massive day. First day of Black History Month. I think that deserves a round of applause.
Yes.
And I kind of just want to get into it and just ask, Naki, I'll start with you. What does Black History Month mean to you?
Black History Month for me is about an ongoing quest for freedom, for justice, for equity. And people sometimes say, why do we need a month to celebrate it? I really do think we need to have intensified time to think about it. Obviously, many of us are thinking about it year round, but it's important for us to take time out to really think about what does it mean to be free to be who you want to be.
I know that resonates with a lot of people. Peter, I would love to bring you into this now. What's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I agree with everything Naki said. I would just add to that and say, it's all about acknowledging the past. There's been lots of Black achievements which are unrecognized. And it's important that we go back and recognize that and reclaim that history, which is our history. And frankly, it's everyone's history. That's hugely important. And I also would echo Naki's point on, it's about celebrating the present and also the future.
What I found is that there's kind of been an evolution with the month, where there's a celebrating of, Black accomplishment. But there's also now, I feel like there's this revolution of celebrating just being, and I hate to use the word basic, but just being ordinary.
Yes.
And it's okay to be ordinary and
Yes.
still be celebrated.
Yes.
Have you been hearing those talks as well?
Yeah. I think for a long time there's been this expectation that Black people have to be 10 times better. You've got to work twice as hard. I think we want to get to a place where we can just be who we are and succeed just on that basis.
You talked about being who we are, and a lot of who we are, it doesn't matter what is your race or ethnicity, is what you do for a living. But I want to talk about safe spaces for Black employees. And both of you work for TD, and we know that TD is at the forefront of this conversation. They're at the forefront of supporting Black initiatives and uplifting the Black community. What is it like as, the levels that you both hold within TD in terms of those safe spaces within the organization?
The creation of safe spaces for Black people is hugely important. And it first comes with developing and creating a space for trust. People have to be able to come in, share their views openly, and not be concerned about reprisals of any kind. That's that's hugely important. But also too, it's also about broadening it out so you have other people who may not be Black who can be part of that conversation so that they can then advocate for the things that we're looking to seek.
And I'd probably add to that creating community is part of that. And one of the things that I love about TD is that we, as co-chairs of the Black Employee Network, we've been able to create community where we create spaces where people can talk about the things that they're being challenged by, but also that they can celebrate. And it's not always safe for Black people to celebrate their successes. And so to be able to create spaces where we genuinely are happy for each other and genuinely are lifting each other up is a really powerful thing.
Can I get some more details on this Black Employee Network? Because not every company has that, right? So what does that look like? What are some of the, programs or, things that people can access within this network?
A big part of why I joined TD is because they have such a strong Black Employee Network, and they were doing so many things in the community. And a lot of that I have to owe to Peter, because Peter has been involved in the Black Employee Network pretty much since its inception. And one of the things that this group does is it acts as a presence in the bank. So when things go on, or when we're thinking about issues that are affecting Black employees, everyone in the bank knows that they need to start with the Black Employee Network and have those conversations.
Our network, it's employee run, it's employee driven. It's been around for more than 10 years. It has more than 4,000 members in it. It runs programming which covers, professional development. We have a mentoring program. We have an employee engagement. We run our own internal website. So there's always communication coming out to the members on an ongoing basis about things happening across the organization.
What feedback have you heard from employees who have been part of that? We know Naki, this was instrumental for you for even joining the bank, but what feedback have you heard?
The feedback has been phenomenal.
Yeah.
People feel valued, they feel seen, and that's hugely important. And it's also recognized by the leadership in the bank that this is an important resource group. Like, it's recognized, it's credible, and so if people want to know what are our views on various issues or opportunities that the bank is looking to pursue.
Do you feel like in the atmosphere out there, Canadian corporate culture, that there is that push for change? Like, we know TD's already doing it, but like outside of TD, are you noticing that there's actually that push for change?
Yeah, I mean, I see it in many different corporations.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to give a blanket statement and say every corporation's doing
Yeah.
it, but I see it in a way that's very different than the past. Between 2015 and 2020, we had seen murders of Black men and women, in the media, but we hadn't seen the same kind of intense response. We hadn't seen companies now issue targets and say, this is what we're aiming to do. In the past, if you said we want to create a target around Black representation at the executive level, people would say, no, we can't talk about just Black people. But for the first time, that became an expectation.
And why is that important?
Oh, for so many reasons. I mean, when you think about who's around the decision-making table, it's important that Black voices are there, that Black experiences are represented. When you think about aspiration, I want to know that I'm at a company where I can be an executive.
Yeah.
If I'm earlier stage in my career, I want to know that that's possible for me by looking up and seeing that.
Yeah.
Or at least looking up and seeing that there's a plan for that to happen for me.
I'm gonna put you both on the spot right now, because a lot of times, like I said, I feel like Black History Month can be a conversation about the struggle and all these things, and that is part of Black identity, 100%. But there's also part of that identity is perseverance and accomplishment. Naki, I mean, I want to know from you, what are the 5 things in your career? Do you have a top 5 things that you've accomplished?
Top 5.
And Peter, you're lucky you get to think about this for a little.
Amen, I gotta say.
I wish you had asked me for any other top 5 than that. One of the things that comes to mind is I have had a career where I've been able to reinvent myself many times. So I've worked in the not-for-profit sector, I've worked in the broader public sector, and now people see me as a business person. I'm working in the private sector. So I think the ability to sort of transfer my skills across sectors is a big one. In 2020, everything that happened with the murder of George Floyd and the so-called racial reckoning, I was really proud of being able to use my voice and being able to speak in ways that resonated with Black employees and in ways that challenged the bank. Also at TD in 2021, the execution of our Black History Month series.
Yeah.
I mean,
that was a bomb series. That was fire.
I mean, to be able to go into our senior executive team and tell them that we are organizing a Black History Month series called Black, 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 Black.
Blackity, black, black, black.
Right. And to be able to just say that and say that we're gonna organize activities for 4 weeks around Black thought, Black wealth, Black health, and Black joy, and working with my esteemed colleague Peter and our colleague Shelley Silva in the U.S. to execute this for our colleagues was definitely one of the highlights of my career. Wow. So I'm gonna stop at 3.
Okay, I'm good. I like the top 3. We're gonna change from top 5 to top 3. By the way, I should talk. I'm gonna just plug this in for our viewers watching right now. We are actually going to have this really cool series within the BG show called Building Better with Brandon, where we're going to actually talk about financial literacy and empower young people in communities of color. And this is something that's so dear to my heart. I know this is dear to your both hearts,
for sure.
TD's heart, and so just stick around for that because it's time to secure the bag, and unfortunately financial literacy hasn't been taught to many people in schools. I know they're starting to do it now, but there's a generation of people who missed that lesson.
Yes.
And so we're gonna provide that right here on this platform. All right, anyways, plugged it on done. Peter, back to you. What's your top 3 accomplishments?
Having had the ability to have a career at TD, which has spanned multiple different areas. I've been on the front line in commercial banking, I've worked in product areas, I've worked in risk management and head office. You don't get that without having, sometimes you have to jump places to do that. I can do that all in one place. The opportunity to develop and lead teams and grow and develop people.
Yeah.
And in particular, I've also spent a lot of time investing in our Black colleagues and mentoring and growing them in their careers. And seeing their success makes it feel like it's part of my success. It's a legacy effect. I'm really about creating the next generation of leaders coming behind Naki and I in the organization. And I think then the last one would be the work that Naki and I get to do as co-chairs of the Black Employee Network. This is not in our job description, but yet we are allowed to do that as part of our job. It's recognized that we have the ability to do that, and we're supported in doing that. Not a lot of companies will let you do that,
Yeah.
right? You have to put in even more time. We take time on the bank's time
Yeah.
to do the work for the Black Employee Network, and it's fully recognized and supported. It makes my job, makes what I do amazing.
See, this makes me smile. And hearing you both talk about your accomplishments, I believe in seeing is believing. So Naki, I want to bring back in that Black History Month series. What can we expect this year for 2022? Like, give us exclusive.
Yeah, so last year we had this thematic around not just another Black History Month, and it was all about the fact that we really wanted to have deep conversations, listen, learn to community. And this year we're evolving that to say, it's time to walk the walk.
Okay.
We've talked the talk,
Okay.
now it's time to walk the walk. And so as we think about Black History Month, and actions that corporations can do, that's what this month's going to be about for us. We're going to be talking about what we've done as an organization, but we're also going to be showcasing community organizations that we support. We've got over 90 events across the country.
Across the country?
Across the country.
So Canadians all from coast to coast to coast
From coast to
can
coast to coast to coast can partake in a series of virtual events, seminars, webinars, all kinds of activities across the country. And in addition to that, what I want to say too is, yes, we support a ton of events during Black History Month, but our support for Black history and for Black initiatives is not limited to February.
Yeah, so just beyond what we do in Black History Month, the bank is active throughout the year supporting Black initiatives across the country. And one of the major investments we made this past year is investing $10 million into the Black Opportunity Fund, which supports Black entrepreneurs and Black community organizations.
Wow. So do you guys have any advice for young people out there, or maybe not even young people, maybe there are older people out there who are going through this reimagining of themselves? Like, what advice do you have for them?
Think big. Think big. Dream big. Whatever's on your heart, find people around you that can help you execute it. Nothing great is achieved alone.
The bank is not what you think it is. The bank is like 31 different businesses at least, across North America. So there's lots of opportunity depending on what it is you want to do. The bank is a big place.
All right, so I do want to remind our viewers, listen, if you want more information about what TD is doing, how you can participate in this awesome Black History Month series, you can find that information in the description below. Folks, I mean, I feel like this was the best way to kick off Black History Month. Does anybody else agree?
Yes.
Naki, Peter, thank you so much for joining me on News You Can Use. I truly appreciate it, and promise me you'll be back.
Of course.
For sure.
Of course.
Thank you guys
Great
again.
to see
Thank you.
Hey BG Squad, thanks so much for checking out our channel. And listen to this, we have more great content for you, like this video right here and this video right here. By the way, don't forget to subscribe to this channel right now and tap that notification bell.